But at the same time, like I just started thinking about it. You know, it's kind of like, hey, you know, like there's massive amounts of skincare out there where people rave about how it makes their skin feel.
Yeah.
Yes, we've got our hands in this stuff all day, every day.
Every day.
You know, and we've got that stuff on our patients all day, every day, and no one's done it.
Hey guys, the engine room here at Barwon Soft Tissue Therapies, and we've got none other than Randall Cooper from Premax. Guys, I'm doing a little interview with Premax today, trying to get a little bit of an idea of the behind the scenes situation of Premax. You know how much I'm an advocate for these wonderful products in this company, but I think it's sometimes really nice to hear about the person behind the company and the story, if you like, and hear about their journey. So welcome along, mate. Great to have you.
No, thanks very much, Stu. And the one thing I wanted to say is that you know, from a therapist's point of view and also Premax point of view, like it's just been great having you as part of the journey.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, like you always want to kind of bring good people along, and you've been in the journey with us now for a long time, and not only have you been great for our business, but I think you've just been great for the profession as well. Like you've just been so generous with your time, with your content, getting those things out there for just the betterment of the whole community. So we're just delighted to partner up with you and continue to do for many years yet.
Thank you very much. That's actually very touching. All right, mate. So I just want to start with probably a bit of a look back towards about how you got into physio and why you chose physio as a profession. Because I know my journey as a soft tissue therapist is obviously there were reasons why I got into it, and obviously being passionate from the get-go. I'm assuming that's probably the same for you, but a lot of people don't know you as in terms of a practitioner, and definitely. Why did you become a physio? Yeah,
well, I'm a sports physio, and the journey goes back to when I was 16 years old, where I had a really rough year medically. I had a skiing accident. I blew my ACL. I needed an ACL reconstruction. And back in those days, you know, it was like 3 months in a plaster cast and non-weight bearing on crutches. So it was a tough.
You can sue them now.
Yeah, it was a tough gig. But that was the easy bit, because 3 months after that, I acquired Guillain-Barré syndrome. And for those who don't know, Guillain-Barré syndrome is an autoimmune neurological kind of condition where I went from being a reasonably healthy 16-year-old kid into intensive care at the Austin Hospital in Melbourne, unable to move a muscle. And it's tough. I mean, I reckon it was tougher on my parents than it was on me, because you know, like I literally couldn't move. I had tubes coming out of me on different, you know, machines and treatment every day. But it ended up being probably the most positive experience in my life, because I got better. You know, I made a full recovery, and I was totally inspired by how the health, the doctors, the physios, the exercise scientists, everyone who cared for me was truly inspirational to me. And I thought that that's what I want to do with my life. Like I went from being a pretty capable kid who reports always said kid's fine, like could apply himself more, into someone with a lot of drive and purpose. And you know, from that point on, I just knew what I wanted to do. And when I finished school, well, I missed 3 or 4 months of year 11 because I was sick. The school said, go and do year 12 again. And I said, no, I'm motivated, I can do it. And I did it and got into physio and haven't looked back since.
Fantastic. I mean, the journey's not unlike, well, I didn't have to be involved with it, which is ironically my last client before seeing Randall today has Guillain-Barré, and obviously hasn't made a total recovery, but I had a knee injury myself, and that was the byproduct of obviously having that treated, and then, you know, just thinking to myself, this is exactly where I want to go. I want to be able to help people just with my hands and my head. So definitely, I can resonate with that. Not a problem at all. So anyway, so you moved in. So you studied at La Trobe.
Yes, that was Lincoln. Lincoln in those days. I'm that old, and and then as soon as I got out, I was lucky enough to have a few career options. But sports medicine was really where I wanted to go. And I just quickly started to kind of work where I wanted to work. I was one of those guys or kids who kept making phone calls and say, can I come down and do some work for free? And I just wanted to get amongst it. So I started working with TAC football, which I enjoyed a lot. And then I got an opportunity, kind of like in elite baseball here in Australia. So with even 2 or 3 years of working in baseball here in Victoria, like I was asked whether I'd consider going and touring with the national team, which was really cool.
Do you know
Bruce Rawson? Yeah. So Bruce ended up doing it, but. Yep. My passions sports-wise was definitely snow sports because I love skiing. Despite my ACL reconstruction, and so I kind of still like it. So
well, yeah, it's a history there. So
so I spent 10 years kind of travelling around with our Australian skiing and snowboarding teams all over the world, and also with an AFL team. I was with them for about 6 years as well.
So touring around with them, what sort of coverage did they have? Was it physio, doctor? Was there any softies back in that day? There wouldn't have been, wouldn't it?
It was me and the coach and the athletes.
Wow, and that's huge responsibility back in that, isn't it? When you think with that type of sport as well, because let's face it, this is not running into a hamstring. You can fall over. Like it can be devastating stuff.
It can be death.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it was. I felt pretty comfortable if we were in, if we were in France or Italy or New York or something. Like it was fine. But we had like in events in China, and they tried to appease us, right? Because they showed us, because it was an hour out of any city, and they tried to appease us and said, "Look, we've got an ambulance here," and you know what they had as the stretcher for the ambulance? It was a wooden plank. It's like if these guys have a spinal or they fracture their femur, like, and I'm the only guy there, so luckily, or unluckily, whichever way you want to look at it. The US team and the Canadian team decided to bring doctors because they were nervous.
Yeah, right. Okay.
One of the US athletes had an open femoral fracture in
a compound, like
out of the skin, the whole thing.
Oh.
Yeah. So
physio.
So they had her airlifted to Hong Kong, and like it was a big deal, but it was a great experience. And it was also great to kind of mix it, which you have as well, I know, with people internationally, like with Craft, and we'll talk about products later, but those type of things where, like you really kind of understand what happens on the world stage. And for me, that was just a great breeding ground for me clinically, but also in the evolution of Premax. Like it just gave me a good background to know what's right and what's not. Yeah,
okay. So just really quickly, I'd like to get a bit of a career highlights for you. What would have been your career highlights as a physio?
Listen, I don't want to come across as too cheesy or cliche.
No, don't. I know what my career highlights have been. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of people go, which Olympics, blah blah blah. London was my favourite, even though Sydney was. But there were reasons, and it was predominantly because of the team that I worked with. Yeah. It wasn't necessarily that we did well at the Olympics, but I mean, it's different for everyone. Yeah.
Well, the big ones, kind of like for moments in time, were. I really wanted to go to Winter Olympics, so I made the team as a physio, 2006, and the opening ceremony was huge because they were only
which Winter Olympics was this?
Turin, 2006,
Turin,
and they only let I think about 3 or 4 officials march in the opening ceremony, and I got a gig. So
it's pretty cool.
It was Pavarotti's last performance.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah,
they had Alonso come out and do donuts in front of us in a Ferrari F1 car. Like I was jumping up and down like a little kid. Like it was.
So how old were you then?
Oh, I would have been just over 30, I think.
Okay.
Yep. And so that was a big moment. I did my specialisation, so that's the third and the final tier in physio. It's a big exam, so passing that and kind of getting that qualification was a big deal as well.
Of course.
I did a master's degree. I'm proud of that as well. But going back to the cheesy and the cliche bits, I get as much as they're big events and a lot of people aim for it. I get just as much satisfaction of getting someone up to play their grand final at the end of the year when it means everything to them. Someone feels like they've broken down, can't do their marathon when they've been training for 18 months and you get them through.
Yeah.
Like, I remember those as just as much as I do kind of,
I'm in love with you because it's a mirror image for me, as much as Olympics are great and so forth, it's that person who does it at a hard slog, who works full time and potentially probably isn't able to do all the right things that an elite athlete does.
Yeah.
And they're game-changing moments for a lot of those people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, if I do this marathon, this means I can just pretty well much do anything in my life to a certain degree. Yeah, they are. I'm loving that. That resonates with me.
And going back to the start, I said that I was sick and I had those issues. I still remember the doctors and the physios' names, and I thought if someone can remember me the same way, I feel like I've achieved something.
Yeah.
Like, and they do. Like I'll have patients that come back after 10 years. And it's like, oh, I've done my knee again, or I've injured myself, but hey, Randall, it's great to see you.
Yeah.
And
I've come back to see you.
Yeah, and you can tell that they've remembered you,
of course,
well, for those years. And it's kind of like, I've made an impact. Like, go me.
And you like to think 99% of the people who walk through the door to have treatment with you enjoy the experience and get a lot out of it. I mean, and you're only using your hands and your head at the end of the day. It's pretty damn cool. Life anyway.
No, and that's right, and I suppose, I don't want to digress too much with this video, but I suppose, like one of the messages that I do give other therapists and particularly students and things is that first and foremost, like, it's between you and your client, between you and your patient, it's a relationship. It's a professional relationship, but if you're good at relationships and you're good at building trust, if you're good at building kind of like a sense of, what word am I looking for, the respect, then you're halfway, if not more, there to kind of having a good result with them. Yeah. And it's a really great part of our jobs.
Yeah, and I'm in the public. If they can attune with you and familiarise with you, there's absolutely no better quality that you can have. If you're a little bit, standoffish or not as confident and so forth, they can pick up on that. So, I couldn't agree with you more. Those interpersonal relationship skills, some come naturally, sometimes they don't. And I think if you come from like a background where you're passionate and you've gone through what you went through, and I was a knee injury, not Guillain-Barré syndrome, but it does resonate with you. And you've got to love what you do as well. So that's fantastic. All right, so career highlights, physio, Guillain-Barré syndrome, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Let's talk Premax.
Okay.
All right, let's talk. Why? How? Well, before that, what products were you using before Premax?
Well, good questions. The thing is that I was using a lot of products, and at the time the Premax was kind of like, even the idea started to germinate was when I was working in elite sports. I was working for an AFL team. I was on the road with the Winter Olympic team, and like I was getting my hand in not only products that were here in Australia, but products overseas and things as well. Yeah. And I found it uncanny that a lot of athletes would kind of give the same feedback on pretty much all the products that I would use. And that is, they'd be very grateful for your therapy, but they hated the feeling of the cream on their skin once you finished treating them.
It was bloody oil for us.
Oil. I used oil, and then I won't name names because I don't want to give them too much airtime. But like there was other greasy kind of formulas that had mineral oil and all these kind of petrol derived kind of stuff.
Towels.
They slipped fine. Like if you just wanted to slip, then go ahead and buy it. But it wasn't a nice experience for the athlete. No. And at the same time, like I just started thinking about it. It's kind of like, hey, like there's massive amounts of skincare out there where people rave about how it makes their skin feel. Yeah. Yes, we've got our hands in this stuff all day, every day.
Every day.
And we've got that stuff on our patients all day, every day, and no one's done it. No one has come up with a medium that's nice for the therapist, i.e. the textures are right, where you can kind of get that balance between slip and grip, and it makes your hands feel nice and moisturised and not clogged at the end of the day. But just as importantly, it was a nice experience for the athletes and the patients as well. A lot of the footballers would treat, before it was training time, and you'd treat them and they go, oh I've got to go and shower now before I go out and kind of train because I just feel like I'm in a layer of goo.
Or they get off and they wipe the towels and wiping them off. And
So I had, even though I was very happy as a physio, I was working in elite sport, I was working at Great Sports Medicine Centre in the centre of Melbourne, I was very comfortable with kind of like what I was doing. I did have an entrepreneurial itch, and I always thought that at some point that I wanted to start my own show. And I thought, hey, this is just an opportunity. And I discussed it with my wife, and we just decided that let's just start off small. if it pays for a holiday to Queensland each year, and like what a great result.
Yeah.
And it just started to grow.
Yeah. So the catalyst was, as far as you were concerned, there was a hole in the market where you said, well, you know what, I reckon I can make a better quality product where both athlete and therapist can enjoy the experience in terms of what the product and the feel and all that sort of stuff.
There was no premium product on the market. There was no product that really satisfied the end consumer, which is ultimately your patient.
Correct.
Yeah. So I thought, yes, there is a gap in the market. And also with my travel around the world, I felt that the international brands didn't do it all that well either. So I thought, hey, it's worth having a go. Okay. So yeah, I had a go.
So all right, so you start, obviously, I've got to ask you, Premax. The name.
Oh, the name?
Yeah. Like, where did it come from? Like, you know, I get asked all the time. I mean, social media. You know, you know why Randall called it Premax?
Yeah.
You know, and look, to be honest, I've made stuff up in the past. But, you know, give me what's the tea?
Well, I had these bizarre names in my head to start with, and I'm so glad that I didn't go with them.
Have you got an example of?
Goo. I was going to call it Massage Goo or something like that. I was really fortunate. One of my mates, Paul,
the Goo Essential.
just wouldn't really kind of cut it now with it. But one of my mates, he had a long career in beer and wine and kind of as a marketer, and he progressed into a senior role in strategy for a big multinational company. And I rang him up and I said, "Listen, I'm thinking of starting up a brand. I need some help. Let's workshop the name. Yep. Come around, let's have a beer and we'll talk it through." Took an hour, and he said, "Tell me about what you're going to do." So I told him about it, and I said, "Listen, the products are going to be a combination of some really nice quality oils, skin friendly kind of stuff, but it's also going to have quite a bit of wax in there. Like we're going to have beeswax and a little bit of other wax and whatever." So, all right, so it's a massage wax or a massage cream. I said, "Yeah." And it's premium, is that right? And I said, yeah, that's the thing, right? We're going to make it's going to be the best on the market. All right, so let's kind of condense it down. Premium massage wax, Premax. There it is. So that's it. It's just premium massage wax all kind of condensed into one, and that's the genesis of the brand. So that's how the name came out.
Okay. It makes perfect sense now once we think about the cocoa and the shea butter and the beeswax, all that stuff.
Well, the funny thing was that the footballer's always got a good sense of humour, and our second child that we had her name is Maxine, and they all thought that you knew what you were going to call your daughter, didn't you? Yeah. And you came up with the brand before she was born, so it's Premax.
Of course not. No. Okay. So anyway, what was your first product? How did it all work? Tell me.
I get asked a lot about what did you do, how did you do it, right? So
it evolved.
No, but how did you come up with the formulas? Yeah. Did you go and cook it up in your kitchen?
Microwave?
Yeah.
There it is.
Not quite.
No.
We did two products to start with. We did Premax Original.
Yep.
And one of the reasons that we call Premax Original is because it was the first.
Correct.
But one of the other reasons I called it Original is because it was a different style of cream.
Yep.
There was nothing really like it on the market. So it was a statement to kind of like the market that, hey, it's an original product in a number of ways.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then we did the Sport massage cream as well, which was kind of like a very similar kind of base, but it had some wintergreen, a little bit of menthol in there. So that was to kind of help therapists particularly to have a massage cream that wouldn't rub in like other topical analgesics do, to heat people up either in the clinic or kind of like before people go and play sport. So it was the two products. The way that we kind of got them right was that I utilised a very good cosmetic chemist who's made a lot of household brand names kind of out in the market, and it's like no different. You just kind of go to them or him. I went to him with a brief and said, listen, these are the half a dozen ingredients that just have to be in. This is what I want the product to feel and look like, and this is what it's got to achieve. And it's okay, no worries, I'll give it a go. So he would make up a few little test pots, and then I'll just continue to try them out, and I'll try them out myself. And it took 6 months before I was happy. And once I was happy, then that's when I started giving it out to my colleagues. And once they were happy, it's like, all right, I think I'm on a winner. And it wasn't, as far as the the entrepreneurial journey, like that wasn't the big step. So
No.
yeah, kind of you pay money to the chemist to kind of get the formulas right, and like it's not nothing, by the way, but
yes,
most people would be able to kind of, I suppose, kind of finance that bit.
Yeah.
But then the big decision comes, you've got to manufacture it, right?
Yes.
So then you've got to get your labels, your website, your branding, blah, blah, blah. And that was
you've got to be able to deliver it. So
that's right. So that was a fair investment. So that was the oh shit moment.
Yes.
Where it's kind of like, all right, we've got to kind of go all in here. Not quite all in, but like it was a significant kind of investment. But I took the plunge. So we started off. We started going through wholesalers here in Australia, and it grew. We had no money for marketing. The only thing that we did is like with the 400-gram jars, like this one here. That's all that we did.
Yep.
So
it was just that's all we did.
And I thought that because the creams were really quite different, people needed to experience them for more than just rubbing it between their fingers at a trade show or something, or a massage kind of exhibition, and just say, oh yeah, it feels a bit different. So we gave away free jars, like big 400-gram free jars. And what happened was that.
All right, hang on, just before you go on.
Right.
Just how many of these do you reckon you've given away over the existence of Premax?
Oh, I don't want to count.
Okay, right.
But it'd be in the thousands. Yeah.
Oh, it's a massive point. I mean, we give. There's no doubt as practitioners and so forth, and anyone that's starting a business as well, that is such a big part of it that people don't understand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like you just, you do have to give a hell of a lot out for people to experience it. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry I segue, but that's why.
No. Yeah. So we sampled a lot, and with that sampling and then word of mouth, because we had no money at all to go and market it really in any way, it just grew organically. And
good way to grow.
Yeah, but the nice thing that happened was that, and fortunately for the brand and for us, is that it quickly infiltrated its way into elite sport. So we were, within the first year, it was all that the team were using up at the AIS, and there was probably about 6 or 7 AFL clubs that were using it, and the name started to the creams and the brand started to get a reputation, and it just had the trickle down effect where it kind of went into clinics, it went into private practice, even went into hospitals, and it was a nice smooth ride for a while. We added the first 2 creams were the original and the sport. Talk about the sport later. Then the original, as most people who know the brand will know, is that it's got quite a bit of grip to it. And then the feedback came back saying, hey, can you do a product with a little bit more slide and slip? Because we wanted to do more, more flushing kind of techniques, that kind of thing. That's a bit grippy. So I said, fine. So the Essential was born. And then and every product we do has always been not in here, it's out there. People say, have you thought about this, or this is a problem that we haven't fixed yet? So then the next piece of feedback was that, hey, can you do something that's going to help after injury? Like if people have had surgery or they've torn their hammy or calf, a very soothing kind of cream. So Premax Arnica came at that point. And then the lotion was again another fit to a need. It's like, some people just didn't like kind of the cream component of it, so they prefer a lotion. So we did that. So it ended up being 5 products after about 4 or 5 years, and it was just good.
And obviously there's a market for all of them as well, which is even better. And I know even with my experience at Olympics, that's where I was actually introduced to Premax, believe it or not. And I didn't even know you back then. And I remember, heading up to medical headquarters and like, oh, Premax, what's this? Well, that's what we're using at the moment. Like, okay, righto. In we go, and that's and that's where it all started for me. And like anything in life, you start to go, wow, I really enjoy that. I mean, a segue to some degree. I use Max primarily because I was exposed to them at the Beijing Olympics. So that's all we had at the recovery centre. I went, wow, these are fantastic. And it's like, well, I'll go back, got rid of my PC, I've got a Mac now. But that was almost similar to me for Premax. I'm like, oh, I'm using it at the Olympics, and then took a couple of jars home, as you do, and then you go, okay, well, I'm on with this. This is awesome stuff. And there's like we'll talk a little bit in a minute, you know, how they different things, but yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that grew.
Yeah.
Obviously, you built a bit of a market. Obviously, permeated out as it does. It's a whole different animal now, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it got to the point where we could go to Noosa each year, and
Okay.
the other thing that happened was that you know, because the products were formulated and designed for not only the therapists but also the patients and the athletes as well, is that the brand got as much reputation with those people as it did with the therapists. And after a while, particularly in the elite sport, is that we would get contacted by athletes saying, "Hey, you guys do really nice massage creams. I love it on my skin. Have you thought about doing a sunscreen? Or have you thought about doing, like, cycling was one that we've supplied a lot. Have you thought about doing a chamois cream, like an anti-chafing cream?" And I thought, that's not what we do. But then I thought about it for a while, and I was thinking, actually, I was reflecting back into my days at Hawthorn, and it's kind of like, all right, when I open up the medical cupboard kind of in the room there, what am I looking at? And there's all these types of creams and potions and lotions that you rub on athletes, and it's like,
I can remember that.
why isn't there one brand that does it all?
Yeah.
You know, and does it all really well.
Yeah.
So I made the plunge, and we tipped over about 5 or 6 years, and we did a sports sunscreen, which is really dry, really light. The athletes love it because they're not cooking in a layer of oil.
Man. And you know what? And I love it. And it was funny. I gave another, you know, the little ones, to an athlete of mine, you know, triathlete, and he's like, "Oh wow, this is great." Like, so you know, it's like in summer, I said, "Look, when I used to cycle, and I remember summertime, I was trying to find a good sunscreen, like a sports type sunscreen, where it wouldn't just basically go into your eyes and be blinded halfway going up the back of Dean's Marsh and so forth," and thinking, no, there was just definitely on the market, you know, honestly, until I came across, you know, obviously the Premax stuff, which is gold. But I mean, you moving into that area, obviously there would have been a lot more research and development behind the scenes.
Yeah.
More investment. I mean, I don't know. That's more sleepless nights. I don't know. Like, it's because now you're moving out of your massage, you know, your core business, and you sort of. I know you're extending your range. Yeah. What was that time like?
Well, the interesting thing also was that, you know, how I explained that, you know, there were gaps in the market in massage cream, that there was stuff that worked, you know, in inverted commas, but there was nothing that was really nice. Yeah. And the same happens with sports skincare, right? So, you know, like, does sunscreen work? Yeah, but is it a nice experience for athletes when they're doing a triathlon?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Get it in your eyes.
Yeah. So, you know, that's kind of, you know, like where we're heading now is to very, you know, like the massage and the therapeutic kind of medical community is our base and our core, and it's given us our foundation. But, you know, like, we're starting to kind of move into servicing athletes and people who are into exercise and sport more. Yeah. But the philosophy is the same. Yeah. It's not like, we've got distributors here and there and everywhere. I've got an online store that does fairly well, so let's just put as much down that channel as we can and make some money. Like, every single product that we do is made the same way as Premax Original was. Yep. And that was okay, we're just not going to do another Me Too product. It's like, we're going to make sure that this is different, that it's better, and it's a great experience for people who are using stuff.
Okay, so a little while ago, you decided to change the formulas in the products, and obviously that created a little bit of that roller coaster ride, especially on social media, which I was watched intently, and it really did. It was an interesting feedback ride, there's no doubt about it. But a lot of people don't understand the reason behind why the formula was changed, and I think it's pretty important that a lot of people understand why.
Yeah. So I'll go back half a step, and one of the things that happened with the evolution of the brand is that we started to get our products known and requested overseas. And a lot of therapists, whether they were travelling with an Olympic Games or they had got a job, you know, like working with an NBA team or a football team over in the UK, would end up taking Premax with them because they couldn't find anything equivalent in the local market, which was great for us. But so I got some investment into the business to finance it going to international markets. There was one ingredient in the 4 massage creams, though, that had recently, or in 2013, had been banned in all cosmetic products, and that was borax. So borax is a terrific emulsifier, which basically binds water and oil together.
Yep.
And it also interacted with the beeswax in the product that gave it a very crystalline kind of structure to start with.
Yep. Yep.
Now I had to take it out to get it over there. Now I considered whether, you know, like we run the same borax kind of formula here in Australia and do something different for overseas, and I thought, no, that's not the right thing to do, because you know, borax has been banned for a reason, and you know, like we took the parabens out, we took borax out, and we did the creams, and I tested it out, and I knew that it had changed a little bit.
Yep.
But I didn't think it had changed a lot when we kind of did and when we upscaled it like 300,000 times compared to what you do when you're doing it in the lab, it was soft, it was runny, the grip and the texture and everything that we were kind of known for wasn't it. And we'd manufactured thousands and thousands and thousands of jars of all this kind of stuff, redone the branding, had it ready for the UK, and you know, like, it was tough, you know. There was one thing that happened. It's like, all right, okay, we got it wrong. Like, it didn't work out. We're going to make a change. So with the chemist, like, we kind of then started working with the formula we had. We weren't going to put borax back in, obviously.
So you had to find that alternative.
Yeah. So then we did something completely different, and we put a little bit of bentone clay. Okay, which is unique in the whole world. No other massage product in the world has got bentone clay in it, and so we put that in, and it gave the texture back, it kind of gave the grip, and we manufactured, all these things take months to get it right, because you've got to test it in labs, and then you've got to do stability tests in jars.
No, it happens overnight.
No, it doesn't happen. It's not like changing the recipe in the restaurant. Like it literally, the turnaround's kind of like 12 months.
Garlic, you know, what are you talking about?
So we put that in, and then again, it was pretty good, and we manufactured again thousands and thousands of units, and what happened then was that despite testing it again with all the routine tests, is that when the products went in transit, where the products got agitated, like in a truck or on a plane, train,
low level vibration,
it went from a solid set cream into a liquid, and you could pour it out like that. And at that point in time, you could literally, it was like a thick shake. And at that point in time, you know, like, we'd already kind of taken a bit of a beating kind of from changing the formula in the first place, and then we made a revision, and if anything, it was probably worse, you know, once it was agitated, I should say. And it's kind of like, I've got to, you know, there would be a lot of other, I'm not trying to sound too self-righteous here, but there'll be a lot of other brands that just say, get it out there, we've got to sell it, we've got to make sure we make some money out of this and whatever, but I said it's still not right. So I took tens of thousands of units off the market, like, I just ripped it out, and I just said I just can't serve it up to our customers who have been part of it for 10 years. And the other side, also kind of getting it going out overseas, was that, you know, like, we had to be the premium best product. So
you had to get it right, you know.
Yeah.
And like you said, you obviously had to, and I love your moral compass, man. I really love it.
Yeah, so it costs us a lot of money,
you
know, to do that.
No doubt.
Yeah, and you know, like, that's where a lot of the sleepless nights came back in. But in a testament to everyone who's involved with Premax, like, you know, like, we all work together to get it right. You know, particularly my chemist, who, you know, we just kept trialling and trialling and trialling and trialling. And at the end of the day, it didn't take a big change to get it right again. Like, we just had to add a little bit of lanolin wax and play with the grades of beeswax that we had. And it was, well, we're talking now in late 2018, so it was early 2018 that we kind of revised the products for the third time, and we've got them right again. So it's been really good since, you know, like, I'm just pleased that, you know, they're solid set creams again. And that, you know, the feedback has been great. They've been stable in transit, and again, I don't want to sound too salesy here, but my personal view, and I think a lot of the people that I've spoken to, is saying that the creams are now better than what they used to be. They're a bit softer, but the silky smooth kind of texture that they have now is great, and it's almost like the problem that we needed to have, and the evolution now.
That's what it is. You know, business is like that. You know, you work out. You know, even from the negative, the positive comes. You know what I mean? And they taste better now too. I mean, you know.
People do say you love Premax. I didn't realise it was that much stew.
Taboo. Okay, all right. So let's talk a little bit about the products, I mean,
Yeah.
because obviously that's the metamorphosis of it, you know. And yeah, and I agree. The products are by far even better now. You know what I mean? And I have of my own personal flavours and so forth, but I also have different reasons why I use the different products as well. You know what I mean? I think it's important that people and other people will evolve, but sometimes don't understand why these products have different uses in terms of what you do. So I'd like to go through, if you don't mind, just most of the massage creams, and then I'd love to hear your feedback of why you developed it, and I can give you a little bit of what how I use it and what goes on. So let's go. Right, obviously the original for me. Okay, and I do love the original. Don't get me wrong. It's the one that I use when I want to do a lot of myofascia. It's the grippier one.
Yes.
Okay, so if I really want to get some specific sustained fascial stuff going, and I used to use like a wax or something or whatever the case may be, it was obviously the original for me. I mean, it's a great cream. It is, like you said, it's the original. But in terms of me doing release work and so forth, this is my go-to. Do you know what I mean? So for you, when you designed it, obviously it was the original, and you were going for that more grippier, blah, 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 blah. What's the story behind original?
Well, the story was that the cream. Remember, I'm a physiotherapist, so
correct.
I'm doing a lot of nitty gritty kind of stuff with my elbowing, sort of glute med or SEM, scalenes, suboccipitals, that kind of stuff. Rarely am I doing kind of big flushing kind of techniques, recovery style massage, that kind of thing. So being a physio, like I needed that grip and that texture and kind of the purchase on the skin, so I could kind of do some traction type techniques, exactly the same as what you did it, what you mentioned, I should say. So that was the basis behind the cream. It was, again, kind of going back on what we spoke about, but it had to be that nice experience kind of for the patient, but also give the therapist kind of like the texture that they needed to apply their technique appropriately. So that's the Premax original.
So I mean, the thing is, it's got the ginger, it's got obviously the shea, it's got the vitamin B and vitamin E, sorry, and the aloe vera, and obviously the olive oil and stuff, which all blends beautiful together. Ginger. Where does the ginger come in?
Well, the ginger's not in this one. The ginger.
Oh, it's in the arnica.
That's in the arnica. So ginger is a natural kind of anti-inflammatory. And that goes along also with olive oil and arnica. So we wanted to kind of do the complements, using kind of natural ingredients.
You've got more the coconut oil and lavender and stuff in.
That one's So that in all the products where there's
there's an essential blend through it.
There's some essential oils in them. There's vitamin E. There's aloe. This one actually doesn't have cocoa butter or shea butter because it's too creamy for kind of like what you want to do.
It's got coconut oil.
Yeah, it does. It's got coconut oil. It's also got
that's what I meant. The coconut oil.
And castor oil. So we use heavier, kind of more tractiony, grippy type of oils.
So that's what gives it the basis of that, because coconut is that sort of texture, isn't it?
It's not that simple.
No.
If it was, everyone would be doing it. But it's also the ratio of the waxes that we use.
Of course,
The bentone clay also gives it some. It's a clay, so it gives it some resistance and texture.
It is my go-to if I've got, especially if I've got like a shin splinty situation going on, and I've got to do some specific work and get them up, hop around. Where do you feel it? Up, back down. It's the original I use. I'm not going to be using the essential for that because I'm using a larger area. So I suppose that's the basis for me there. All right, let's talk arnica, because obviously ginger, and obviously it's the one that for me is just got that little bit extra more slip on it. And it's not quite as slippery as the essential. But it's that in between area as well. So once again, for me, it works great for passive release techniques. Like if I'm doing the neck, or if I'm doing up around shoulder girdle sort of stuff, or wherever I'm doing those specific stuff where I don't need too much grip, but enough that I can really slide with it. Do you know what I mean? So the arnica?
Yeah, that's the arnica, and again, the ingredients that are in there are supposed to be for sensitive areas, for areas that have had surgery, injury, that kind of thing, and the natural ingredients there is supposed to complement that. But we also wanted to get the ratio of kind of like the slide and the slip ride as well. These do have the shea butter and the cocoa butter in it that just give that kind of creamy, kind of more silky texture.
That one step away from the original. It gives you sort of your in between. The original and obviously given the essential.
That's right. Okay. So that's the arnica.
Of the arnica. Okay. And
The piste de
resistance, the one that, you know, like, I mean, if I do get hungry and that happens around about 3:30, we're into it, you know, okay, put it on toast. The Essential, I mean, yeah, I do. And look, it's the one I have my hands in the most, probably most of the time. Great coverage. Clients, athletes all love the feel of it, love the smell of it. You know, it's just a cracking medium for big, large areas to work with. It's got that long lasting. You know, they are non-greasy too, giving that effect. And I love the Essential. That's my, you know, and not only that, there's that. It's got the citrus oil blend in it as well.
Yeah, it does. Right? So it's got mandarin and orange, and it's also got patchouli and lang lang in there. So it's a citrus blend. It's just supposed to be like slightly refreshing but calming, kind of at the same time. Yeah. And again, it's got that beautiful kind of quality, silky kind of feel, like you just mentioned. But the resistance of it and what it's used for is that if anyone wants like a one-stop shop type cream, then this is the one, because if you want a little bit more slide and slip, you can use a little bit more, or just do a dash of oil with it, which some practitioners do. If you want to kind of get a little bit more traction and resistance, then just use a little less. So you can kind of play around with it that way as well. But I should say that, you know, like the range is not that we just do different colours for fun.
No.
They're there as you found. They're there as a complementary kind of system of creams.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. The lotion.
Yeah.
And look, this is my go-to for cupping.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, This is if I'm going to cup someone and I need to slide and glide, this is my go-to. I mean, I can do it with the Essential, but this is predominantly my glide, there's no doubt about it. So the lotion it's a completely different texture.
That's right. This is a like a glycerin-based kind of formula. So it's high glide, it's very low resistance. It's a moisturising kind of product.
You actually use it sometimes, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a moisturiser.
Yeah, and it's a very simple product as well. Like there's only 10 ingredients in there or so. You know, like we did it. Also, the thing that I can understand, but the thing that I always found perplexing was there's a lot of therapists out there who use sorbeline cream to massage.
Yeah.
And they would use it as a hypoallergenic type thing and a safety kind of stuff, but oh my goodness, it is just not meant for massage. It beads and it balls, and it's just a horrible experience for the patient. So they may end up getting some treatment, but and their skin may be happy with it, but that's all they experience. So we thought that, you know, like we'd do something that was, again, reasonably lower allergenic. We're going to say it's hypoallergenic. It's lower allergy, simple product. Very easy to use. It's a different style of kind of product. It's in a pump pack, so you know, for those people who don't want to use spatulas or fingers or those type of things in creams, then that's fine. We've got an alternative for them too.
Great for pre and post event too. Like, so if you're off to your events, this is, you know, I'll be taking this as well.
Yeah,
it's just a ripper in terms of that. Okay, bit of sports grip, mate. So now this is a whole other new avenue of traction.
Yeah,
this baby, you know, believe it or not, pole dancers and even some of the weightlifters use this sports grip, which is, there you go, who would have thought?
But are you using it for your therapy at all or not?
Only if I'm doing a lot of stuff around the ankle.
Yeah.
Very, very, but it's not, you know, I can't use it as a massage cream.
No. Because we didn't develop it as a massage cream. But
just so that you know, this is not a massage cream, guys, because some of you are losing your mind about this. I don't know how am I supposed to use sports grip, you know what I mean? But, like, you know, in terms of applicability, you know, I obviously work with a lot of weightlifters and you know, the odd pole dancer and so forth. But it's funny how that use has come about. Yeah, so tell us about this sports grip, mate.
Well, there's a lot of sports that need
the
tackiness on their hands. So Aussie rules football, rugby, and then there's other sports that you just wouldn't think that would use it. You know, such as tennis, golf, divers, hockey, weightlifters, as you mentioned, pole dancers. So there's all these people that actually kind of use. Now, the feedback we got is that there's a lot of sprays that are out there, and there's actually here in Victoria, Melbourne, one of the most popular products that people put on their hands is actually a lawn bowls polish. Right? They're industrial glues. Like you could patch up your house with them, right? But that's fine if it works fine and people were happy with it. But the feedback we got was two things. The first was a lot of people found it too tacky. They found it too sticky, and a lot of the players in various sports would say, particularly if I need to, it's fine if I want to receive a ball, but if I want to pass it off, whether it's in netball, basketball, football, or whatever, sometimes I just feel like I'm going with the ball. Can you please do something that has got more control and is just not an industrial glue? The other thing also was that like people just couldn't get the other stuff off their hands after they played, like WD-40 and Solvol to get it off. So
and then you've got grass and dirt and all sorts of stuff attached.
Horrendous. So this is different. So this is a very much a beeswax based grip. It's not as sticky as some of those sprays and bowls polishes that are out there as well. It's more control. Without sounding too market-ish, again, like we've listened, to what the athletes have said, and we've come up with a product that services that need.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. I suppose we should talk about the sunscreen.
Yeah.
Because, man, I adore that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, my kids are dipped in at Kennet River, most of the Kennet River Caravan Park, I'll hand it around and so forth as well. But, it's a ripper, especially if you're going to be active. I don't think you can, is there anything on the market like it? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've yet to come across it because...
You know how sometimes like the athletes, they'll kind of say, like particularly like swimmers and runners, it's like, I forget what's going on around me, I've got to run my own race.
Yep.
It's like, with our sunscreen, we just run our own race. Yep. There's obviously very worldwide, massive brands. It's such a big segment.
I know.
Sunscreen.
It's huge. I know.
But we don't focus on those guys because they've got, literally a million times the marketing budget of what we do to kind of tell their story about what they do. Ours is just what ours is, and it's developed for sport, it's developed for exercise, it's dry, it's a light formula. We know that the people that we supply are extremely happy with it. Yeah. Word of mouth is growing the brand. It's different to what's out there, but we're also looking after a narrow kind of population as well.
I must admit, I always get excited when I've got the small size, is it?
50 mil.
50 mil, yeah. I get excited when I give it to my athletes. You know what I mean? I say, just try this, and they're like, oh wow, what's this? And I go, it's sports sunscreen. Oh, really? Yeah. Because I know they're going to have a great experience. I just know it's going to be. And they go, the only one. I say, well, maybe I want to purchase. It's awesome stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, and it's just a winner. You know what I mean? It's always a game changer. It's like referring off to someone else that is really, really good at what they do, and you just go and see this person do this. He's really or she's really good at what they do. The sunscreen ticks that box for me as well.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's why we did it.
No, absolutely. And at the end of the day, you're putting it all over your skin from that point of view, especially in summer, which we're just about to break into. So it's I can't wait to get it back on again. So yeah.
Oh, everyone loves summer. So
hey, listen, mate. I've really appreciated you coming in and telling us all about your journey. I think it's really worthwhile. I'm pretty sure everyone that watches this will agree because as much as you've been very kind to me and saying some nice things about what I do for my profession, I also thank you as well because I did a blog not that long ago about we stick our hands in this stuff all day, every day. And at the end of the day, it's about our health and well-being, but not only that, our clients as well. And we like to think that someone actually gives a real shit about what they do in terms of the products that they produce. So, mate, I know it's been the journey's still continuing. I absolutely do. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be fantastic to watch, and we've got some awesome things we're going to do together and stuff. So, I thank you very much.
No, you're welcome, Stu. Thanks for chatting. It's been great.
Good on you, mate. Thank you.